Welcome to my craft table. Hi, this is Jamie Magridge. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'm going to show you how to make this card. It's really very simple to make. It's just a lot of elements. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the products. I'm going to use the all-around wreath dies. I'm going to use these two little branches here and cut them out of early espresso paper. Going to be using Four Seasons dies. I'm going to be using this leaf here, cut out of a white. Going to be using subtle embossing folder, crackle paint background stamp, and the Nature's Beauty. This stamp set is in the grass, and I believe, yeah, the trees as well. Okay, for inks, I have Pear Pizzazz, Crumb Cake, and Soft Suede. For paper, I have a piece of Whisper White, which is 4 by 5 1/4. This piece has been run through the Subtles embossing folder. I have a piece of Whisper White, which is 3 by 4 1/4. That's the one we're going to stamp our background on. I have a piece that is 2 1/2 by 3 1/4. We'll stamp our image on that. I have a card base. This is the thick 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4. The scrap to cut out the leaf, I've already done that here. A scrap to cut out the sprigs, I've already done that here. A scrap of old olive, and we're also going to use the sprig punch. We're going to cut out 2 sprigs of that. Might as well go ahead and do that right now. 1, 2. Then I have a scrap of vellum, and I want 2 sprigs punched out of the vellum as well. Okay, then we're going to be using a couple of sponge daubers, glue of your choice, and let's get started. So let's put these little pieces that we've punched out all aside so we have them, so we're ready. Alright, let's start by stamping the background. So I'll bring the background stamp in. I've adhered it right to my case, and I'm going to ink it right in here. I'm going to use the Pear Pizzazz ink. And it's a background stamp, so if it's not perfect, that's okay, because it's for the background. Okay, we're going to take that a piece that is 2 1/2 by 3 3/4. We're going to I just kind of bow it like this, set it down, and I bring in a piece of scratch paper, which I don't have on my desk for some reason, and rub it. Okay, that one handy, it came right off. Alright, then I'd wash this with my chamois, and I'm going to just set it aside for now. Okay, then I'm going to bring in a sponge dauber and the ink that we just inked it up with. I'm just going to sponge the edges a little bit, just to give it a little bit something extra. Now you can do it this way, or you can do it like this. whichever works best for you. I just tend to do it this way. I get a little bit more saturated at the edges, and a little bit of a shallower inking when you do it this way. Okay, we'll set that piece aside. Now we're going to bring in, let me turn this over, it's got ink on it. Bring in this piece, done with the green ink. We're going to bring in crumb cake. Well, I usually have my images on blocks, but I forgot to do that today. So let's bring it in. Bring in the rabbit. Stamp the rabbit first. Crumb cake ink. I'm going to stamp that down towards the bottom, but centered on the, so you have the same amount on all three sides. Perfect. Okay, then I'm going to bring in the little grasses. Let's see if it will fit on the tiniest block here. Oh, it will. That's perfect. Okay, and we're going to stamp some grasses below it. Okay. Then we're going to bring in the trees, the double tree. And we're going to stamp that on this side of the rabbit, kind of falling off the page a little bit. Alright, then we're going to bring in those weeds, because they're kind of sitting next to them. Again with the crumb cake ink, we're going to bring that in. So it looks like he's kind of hiding in those weeds a little bit. Okay. I'm going to bring in my crumb cake ink dauber. I'm going to ink the edges. I'm going to do it this way, I think, for this color, because come back in with the soft suede and make it darker. This just makes it a little antique-y looking, aged. Okay, I'm going to use the same dauber. Oh no, I got one here. Okay, soft suede. And I just need a little bit around the edges to darken those corners and edges. A little bit extra in the corners. Hope I'm in frame. I'm not even looking. Okay, the ink away. Put this inky thing away. Okay, and bring in our pieces and we can assemble our card. Now there's no dimensionals, it's all just flat cards, so we'll bring in our card base. And we're gonna oh, I forgot a step. I need the green, and I'm going to ink around the edge of the panel that we've embossed. Very lightly. I'm not re-inking my dauber, I'm just using the ink that's on it. Again, it just gives it a little bit of something else. Almost done. A little bit more here. There we go. Okay, now we're going to glue this to the front of our card. There's going to be like an 1/8 of an inch border around the edges. Make sure you don't go too lightly with your glue because this is an embossed panel, but make sure you don't go too heavy either because you don't want it to ooze out. So make sure your border's the same top and bottom. Sides are all the same. Alright. Now we're going to take this piece and it's going to go over here this way, so there's going to be like 1 inch on this side and 1/4 inch on this side, or maybe even a little bit less than that. And a little bit towards the bottom, lower. Okay. Now this piece is going to go on there, but we're going to need to tuck some things underneath it. So let's bring in those pieces we've punched. And we're going to bring in glue dots, because that's the easiest way to glue things down that are tiny like this. We're going to arrange these first. So we're going to take one of the sprigs, and it's going to go under this corner up here. Green sprigs will go down here. I only needed one of the vellum ones. This one will go down here. The vellum one will go on top of it. This one goes on top of everything though. And these two get tucked in behind this green sprig. Lift up this green panel and tuck one behind there, you can do that. Just tuck it in there. This one will go a little bit higher. Then this will go on top. And then this will go right there. Okay, so let me glue those pieces down and finish up this card. Like I said, it's easy card, it's just a lot of elements. Okay, so that one will go there. Don't want it hanging off the card, so it fits in the envelope. Glue dot on it. Use that glue dot to help glue this one down. Put one underneath the bottom of it as well. Okay, now I'm going to glue this piece on so I can glue those on top. Okay. And glue dot for the vellum. just a little bit lower than that green one and a little bit over to the other side. And one glue dot right in the center. See that spot there? Kind of fits perfectly. So you don't have any glue sticking out. And that goes over the top of all of those pieces there. There you go. And there's our card for today. Here's the one I did previously. Well, thank you for joining me at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day.